It's receipts. Here we are, another week, more receipts to share. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing well. I hear that you have something to share about the referral program.
Oh, I do. Thank you so
Let's get
much.
right into it.
Let's get right into it. So, the referral program, as you all know, it's fun, it's flirty. You refer receipts to your friends using your link and you win prizes. Obsessed. So I had a meeting with two cute guys who run the startup that run the referral program this week. Love them. Super sweet. One's in Boston, one's in Seattle. So neither of which is for me to date, unfortunately, because I'm not doing long distance. But what I did learn from them is that instead of sharing the podcast on a whole, you can actually share any specific episode. So if there's an episode that you love so much, that's your favorite one, or maybe this one, you can share that episode specifically to your friends using your code at refer.fm/receipts. And now we are going to do shout outs for 3 referrals. So if you share with 3 friends, you get a shout out on the show. If you share with 5, you get a sticker. 15, you get a t-shirt. And breaking news, the top sharer of the month is getting a dating app profile of their choice, updated, fixed, made fabulous by a group of comedians. So an incredible prize that's now going to the top sharer of the month. So you don't have to get to 30 anymore. You just have to be the best. And
So
then,
true. Your
yeah,
entire
so
dating
true.
life commandeered by comedians. What a dream.
Truly a dream come true. I'm super excited about it. So look forward to some lucky listener getting their Hinge profile fixed in the next month or so. I'm thrilled.
That will be fun.
It will be fun. The guys from Referomatic, if you're listening, yes, I thought you were cute. And yeah, sign up, share. It's fun. We love. And also on this note, I do need to shout out Allison Dodge. Thanks, babe, for listening. Amazing. Okay, but Andrew, I heard from you that you actually have a receipt to share.
Yes. Okay. So it's not a romantic relationship based
Okay.
receipt in the slightest. Actually, quite the opposite. So there is a young woman that has moved into my building, actually right behind the wall that you are behind this horse.
Right. So
And
famously, for the listeners, Andrew does have a lot of horse-related artwork. There's a prominent horse that is right behind him when he records,
right, and so
and that's where she lives. Okay.
she has haunted that horse since moving in. She has moved. I need to get my voice down because this is the root of the problem. So she has, within like a few days of moving in, she knocked on my door noon on a Sunday, and she said, "Hey, I hate to do this, but I can hear you loud and clear. I'm just talking on the phone, the same level that I'm talking right now." And I'm
No.
like, okay, you really want to cause a feud. Like, first few days in the building, hate
Are you
this
kidding
because
me? On the Lord's Day for
abs-
talking, you're in trouble.
absolutely, yes, yeah. Who do you think you are? Running
Okay.
around leaving scars. And so I was just like, oh, okay, I guess, like, just being nice in person and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can hear everything that you're doing as well, but it's like, that's also like New York City. I don't know what to tell you.
That's just apartments. I'm
Right.
sorry. We just like all live in rooms next to each other. So
I can hear everyone and everything. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, not talk to people on the phone? And so then, because like, honestly, the person that lived there before also like heard them constantly, probably heard me constantly. And it's like, we don't actually need to discuss anything because it's like, now that she's caused this rift and she is like saying like, hey, you need to be quiet, I expected her to be like quiet as a church mouse.
right.
The exact opposite.
Okay.
And she has been like up 11 p.m. Like midnight, 1, playing guitar.
Ooh.
She is very New York's Taylor Swift in my building, and she's just going completely off on the chords, laughing. She makes this like high pitched shriek sound that like sounds like a noise that you would make if like someone pinched your hip.
Oh my God.
And
That's very specific, Andrew. You've been
I,
thinking about this. You're like,
I've
what's
been
the perfect way?
well, I mean, like, I don't know what this like because it comes completely out of the blue. I don't know where the shriek is coming from, and I'm like, okay, maybe like like how like that's the noise that you respond when someone touches you and you weren't expecting it on the hip. But so like at this point, I'm not sure what to do because I don't want to like be like, hey, shut the fuck up, because I don't think that's the right course of action.
No.
What do you think?
Okay, this is actually my initial suggestion and what I've been thinking most of this time.
Yes.
You should buy a drum set.
Okay.
You should. Because I don't know.
With what money, with what space? Like, honestly.
You should borrow a drum set or just,
Yes.
you know, one like overturned pail and make that your drum and some drumsticks. I'm just thinking, so you're talking, but then she's playing guitar. So I think you just need to escalate the situation.
Well, she has texted me since, because she was like, hey, can I get your number just in case like I'm hearing you? And
right, in case I need to shush you. Okay.
Right. And so like me, like a complete dumbass and pushover, I'm like, yeah, here's my actual number. And so I gave her my number, and then like a few days later she did text me and she's like, hey, I'm having a friend over for karaoke tonight, like just giving you a heads up. And I'm like, I just never responded. I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Like, what do you want? So
okay, yes. And also the audacity to have a friend over for karaoke when she's mad at you for using your speaking voice.
Absolutely.
The audacity. I don't know what to say about this. I think
the drum set is a good idea. I think even just like playing like drum sounds on YouTube at full blast, I think would be an interesting concept.
That's my chaotic thought. But I mean, like, my responsible thought is maybe you should knock on her door and just be like, hey, I think we're going to hear each other. And that's just what happens in New York City. So I can hear you play guitar. You can hear me on the phone. And that's
I can hear you get your hips pinched. Yeah.
I can hear you get your hips pinched. And I'm wondering who is hiding in your closet, coming out and pitching your hips when you're not ready. Like, I don't know. That's when I flirted in middle school. I'm like, that's the only time I
Well, she is handling this issue like a middle schooler, I would say.
True. So I don't know. The adult thing would probably be to just address it head on and be like, hey, this is just what it's going to be like. And I don't want this to get in the way of us being happy in our homes, because we spend a lot of time in our homes these days. Right. And then the other option is you could text this to her. But as someone who runs a podcast about annoying text messages, I say don't have a backing trail. I say just say it out loud verbally.
I agree. Was it annoying?
Let it be something you could screenshot.
Was it annoying that I didn't respond to her text message about the karaoke?
No, I think that was the right thing to do.
Okay, cool. I just need validation there. Thank you.
I think that is absolutely the right thing to do. And I also feel like, I think our guest probably has a really good idea too of maybe what you should do in this situation, which is why I'm so excited that he is here today, especially for this moment in time in particular. He's so funny. He has a hilarious Instagram and Twitter account at Fat Carrie Bradshaw, and a very funny podcast, Middle Children Podcast. Please welcome. You'll love him. It's Chris Burns.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Okay, so this woman.
Girl. Yeah.
This woman this is a woman who feeds off of, I feel, conflict. Mm-hmm. This seems like it's something she wants, because she knows she's going to have friends over for karaoke, and she knows that she's going to play music late at night. So to come over preemptively to shush you for something, or maybe she's doing it to be like, well, what are you're only complaining about my noise because I complained about yours. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, say that again.
I feel like she came to be like, you're being loud because she knew she was always going to be loud. So then now if you're like, you're being loud, she can be like, you're just saying that because I said that about you.
Oh my God. Wait, wow. You're thinking like in the mind of like a gaslighter. Yeah.
I'm a lunatic. I have watched every crime thing known to man. And there's one about crazy neighbors. And I'm just saying, be careful.
Okay,
my
yeah,
God.
I'm worried. Do you think Andrew might get murdered?
Yeah, I know. Do you think it will go
I don't think
into
she's gonna
crime?
murder you because she'll probably get caught if she does. So at least you have solace in that because we're like talking about her. Although maybe she's listening to what we're saying right now.
Absolutely, she is.
She's on that back wall. I think we're safe. I mean,
Oh, you have headphones in.
You have headphones in, but you are speaking at your regular speaking voice, Andrew. So I think she can probably hear everything that you're saying.
Every waking sound.
Oh my God, she'll just leave like a note or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is she terrified that I'm talking about her, or is she like sort of getting off and she's like, I'm getting into his head, you know?
Maybe. See, I'm very much not like somebody can be like slaughtering pigs in the apartment next to me, and I'm not gonna say anything because I just will avoid the conflict. And I'm like, tension in the home space is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
But
no, but she moved into this building wanting tension, which is oh gosh.
I feel like she feeds off of it. How old was she?
She's probably like maybe 30 oldest.
That doesn't help me with anything. I'm just trying to get a mental image. But
yeah, just a thought. Well, if you had said like she's maybe 22, that would maybe be telling to me. But 30 something, I don't know.
I sort of get the vibe.
Karaoke, that is like the most loud thing.
Yes.
You can possibly. I would never do that.
Yes, the loudest thing, actually. That's not, if you want to have a quiet activity with friends, do a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why like karaoke places exist in New York City. Like I don't know other cities where it exists. It's because you can't be doing karaoke in your apartment.
No, not if you want to stay in your apartment. You can't.
Right. And there's something sad, I feel, about doing two-person karaoke in your apartment.
That is really depressing. So I'm like, I
would be lying. I would be lying if I said I never got a karaoke room with one other person. But something
but going over to someone else's apartment in New York City, I just like want two people in an apartment. I think there is something way more depressing about that. Renting out a karaoke room, I think, is a little bit more safe.
Yeah, but I can't judge her for that right now, though, in terms of having two-person karaoke, because it is a pandemic, and I would be really mad if she had like 10-person karaoke in her apartment.
I think any karaoke in the apartment is where I'm losing her.
Okay.
I did ultimately forget that we were in a pandemic, so thank you.
Also, being a new neighbor is kind of like being new at a job. You have to like tread lightly at first, you know? Like, you know, when you start working with a new coworker and they're way too like friendly and you're like, this isn't how this works. I need you to like feel a little coldness from me at first. We have to warm up to each other. I feel like that should also happen in a living situation.
Absolutely. Maybe even more so, because you could just not see each other except when you pick up packages. And that could be a relationship. And what a beautiful one that is.
Yeah. I lived in my building for 5 years and I truly know, and there's like 100 people in my building. I know one of their names.
I have two friends in my apartment. One of them is the girl who smokes outside. And I'm like, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, Sashio? She gets maybe as many packages as I do. So I feel camaraderie with her for that, actually.
Mine is also the woman that's always smoking outside.
Yeah, that's the one, honestly. If you're going to make a friend with one, it's probably going to be her. So Chris, tell us, how is your pandemic? Are you dating right now? What the fuck is going on?
So dating, I certainly am not. I am at my parents' house in Albany. So I came back. I've been like mostly here for the past year, even though I still have my apartment in Brooklyn that the lease is up at the end of this month. So that's a whole thing. So, you know, dating in the suburbs of Albany during a pandemic is probably about as bleak as it sounds, especially gay dating in the suburbs of Albany. So it's been about a lot of, I've watched everything on National Geographic.
Okay.
You know.
You know a lot about snow leopards.
I do know a lot about snow leopards.
Are we missing out by not watching that? I haven't heard like a lot of people watch National Geographic.
It's on Disney. Disney Plus has all of it.
That's right.
So that's been my highlight, honestly. I actually met this guy, actually, Jenny, you might have been at this show, although maybe it wasn't, but it was like one of my last drag shows before the pandemic.
They were so fun. I just need to
Ugh,
say that. Ugh,
thank you. What
an
a time.
incredible experience. And shout out to Andrew, Daradine, love.
What? Oh, he'll love that. But what what a sad time. But I met this guy like the last show, and then we were like texting, gonna meet up, and then the pandemic happened, and then he got coronavirus.
Ugh.
And then we kind of texted, and then you know, it was probably for the best. But I have been ghosted, I think, like thrice times in the pandemic, which I think that speaks to the type of person that I'm like, oh my God, yeah, let's talk.
Right. That might be your type, maybe, is someone who will ghost you during a horrible crisis.
That is very much.
How far along do they ghost? Are they leaving?
It's like, we probably talked for a few months, but we also were like FaceTiming like every day for like a month or so.
And you actually mean like ghosting, like they're not even giving you a reason.
Like we didn't speak for like a month, and then I was like, alive, ? Which is my like go-to.
Oh, good
but
one,
then
though.
he just answered alive.
Okay.
So and I was like, okay.
Alive, period? Alive, no punctuation?
No punctuation.
Lowercase.
No punctuation.
Okay.
And then he'll like respond to my Insta stories sometimes, but always like about something random. Like he responded to my Insta story 2 days ago, which is why I'm thinking about this, about James Corden getting nominated for a Golden Globe. And he was just like, he's terrible.
Okay.
And then I was like, glad to see you're alive. And he left me on red.
Oh.
Wait, did he like double tap the message or what?
Nothing.
Gosh.
Nothing.
So just coming in to be like, yeah, we all hate James Corden, and then like, wait, but I'm still a guy.
I know.
That's the connecting factor.
But sometimes the double tap is even worse. I'm like, the double tap is saying like, I saw this and this is all you're getting to me.
That's true.
That is true. Like I don't even have the time to write a word to you.
Yeah. If I know that I like can't respond to someone on Insta, I won't open the message until I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want to leave this person on red. But also, you know how the pandemic is. There's days where I'm just like, I can't even write a message.
Yeah. Right. Where it's like this, it's too hard to even think about. My brain can't process this right now, for sure. For sure. Well, that sucks that you got ghosted thrice in a pandemic.
Yeah, there was this other guy that I met like on a shoot, and he was like a cameraman, which who doesn't love a cameraman, you know?
Strong arms. And
exactly. And like he's happy behind the camera, which I'm very into.
Yes, useful. You guys can be a power duo. We love that.
Right? Literally, if you think I didn't think of all of that in the first like 5 seconds, I was like, oh, he's cute. And we were talking for a while. I gave him my password so he could watch all of Drag Race on Amazon, mind you.
What?
And then
Amazon Prime password?
Yes.
He could order items.
I would kill him if he did.
Okay, wow.
Wait, how quickly did you hand over the password?
It was like, okay, so we like talked for a while. I also met him like, so there was 3 different shoots and they were like 3 weeks in between, and they were like all day shoots. So it was like not until the last day did we exchange numbers.
Very professional.
Yeah, and then we were like texting about Drag Race, and then he was like, I haven't seen any seasons 1 through 9 or something because they're only on Amazon. And I was like, I have them on Amazon because I had purchased some of them years ago. Whatever. The point is, I handed it out way too freely.
Yeah.
Wow. That man.
Which is also something that I do. I'll be like, do you want my password? I'm sick in the head.
You want my social security?
Oh, but the point is he got through it all and then ghosted me. He watched it all.
He watched it all and then ghosted you.
Yes. And it was like, oh, he needed to see who was crowned season 10 winner before he just stopped talking to me.
No, but I do that too. I used to have guys come over my apartment, log into like Disney Plus or Amazon Prime, Amazon Video, Netflix, Hulu. I am on so many different people's like streaming services that I'm just like remaining on, you know, and I'm the person using it. I don't see anybody else watching anything. So at least like I'm, you know, actively,
You're kind of a parasite. a little bit.
Absolutely. I would
And
say
that's
so.
a
I
little
bet a best picture, I would say so, yeah.
I don't know how many people have my passwords, but they're definitely out there because I'll log in and I'm like, who the hell was watching like the most random shit on HBO? Somebody was watching all of something called Psychic Kids on my Hulu.
What is that?
And I know it's not because like my roommate and I have like shared basically all streaming services for like 8 years, but we have our own profiles on it. We respect the profiles.
Yes, of course.
So I'm like, someone's watching Psychic Kids on my profile, which fucks me up because
No,
that shit drives me nuts. When you try to start an episode of like Fargo, which I also watched during
I
the
like Fargo a lot.
quarantine, and it would start in the last minute. And then I'm like, no,
No.
because someone else was watching it.
I get mad on the other end. Like, I'm like, who's watching Rick and Morty on not even my account? You know, it's their account and someone's watching this shit.
Good for you, though. That's what I like aspire to.
Yeah. That's kind of iconic, honestly. That you're just like living in someone else's.
It's like now, like I'm just gonna get like all like Rick and Morty sort of things like suggested. I don't want that, you know?
I'm not paying for this, but it should absolutely be tailored for what I want.
Right. Exactly.
I'm the owner of this account now. Oh my God. My ex still has Disney Plus, I think, but I wish that for him because we had a nice relationship, and how could I possibly take away Baby Yoda from him?
That's also like very nice thing to say. See, I would be like, I am ripping Baby Yoda out of your cold dead hands. Sorry.
But like Disney Plus, you can have like 10 screens streaming at once or something insane like that. So it's like, honestly, give it out.
I think HBO is like that too. They like don't care if you give it out. But I've logged into Hulu and I've gotten the notice like too many screens are. And I'm like, well, and then
it's
I feel guilty changing the I feel guilty changing the password because then I have to text my roommate and be like, I changed the password. And then there's friends I know have it. Like Andrew has my Hulu password. And if I change it, he'll text me and be like, what did you change your password to? So there's like several people that I'm like, I feel guilty changing it because they like rely on this too. I'm too
You're giving. You love to give.
To streaming services that I'm probably paying like rent for with all of
right. It's just another New York apartment where you could be bothering someone and making noise complaints. And,
yeah, truly.
Yeah, based on what you're paying. I think you could change the passwords. I think you could tell your loved ones, the people closest to you, that you're gonna do it, and then just trim the fat, you know, get rid of the people you don't need anymore.
There's also like some services I probably don't even need anymore to begin with. But here we are, you know.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna lose HBO because I'm moving out of my apartment, so we have to cancel our cable. So I could lose that, but we'll figure it out. I'm always blown away by how cheap like Disney Plus is. Peacock I got on the day that it came out. I was like, I'm not gonna live a day without The Office. So I immediately downloaded Peacock, but I'm like, it's $5. Why is everyone complaining? It's only $5. That's how much you spend on like a coffee in the morning.
Yes, that's a latte.
Yeah, literally.
You could watch The Office or you could have a latte. Or both, honestly. Truly. So when are you coming back to the city? Do you know yet?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in general. I mean, I've been working from home since like March, obviously, like everyone else. And we don't know when we're going back to the office. So I don't know. I was actually thinking of moving to LA in March, cool. At the beginning of quarantine. But I'm like, obviously, I don't want to do that now. I don't want to like move to a city that I don't know a ton of people and just have to stay in an apartment that I don't know anything about or the area. So we'll see. I'm just thriving in Albany right now.
Right. Loving that New York State life.
I'm doing my best.
It's because I asked because it sounds like the way that you were meeting people was in person a little bit prior to pandemic. Would you say that that's true? You usually meet people you date in person?
The thing about apps, I've done them, don't get me wrong. I just hate them, which I think is the case for everyone, but I'm like supremely bad at them. And the second I'm like, hey, and then he's like, hey, and then I'm like, fuck you. What am I supposed to do with that? Even though that's the exact thing I did. But I'm like, I need to be like heavily pursued or it's not going to happen, because especially on apps, I'm like, I don't, I have to like work at it. I would rather work than do that, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, because it's a lot of energy to be like juggling multiple conversations at once. Like, we're stressed out looking at Instagram messages sometimes. How are we going to feel talking to a random man in an app, like, who we don't even know what the sense of humor is at this point? So I totally get that.
I think also sometimes because I have to be on social media so much for work, and then I worked in restaurants, and like I started working at a grocery store when I was 15, and then like worked pretty much full time in customer service until like a year and a half ago. So I feel like I just hate kind of talking to people unless I have to. If that makes sense. It's like hard for me to like get excited about having conversations, because I'm like, it's always been like work. I don't know. It's very bizarre. But the same thing with the apps. I'm like, I'm on social media like all day. So when I'm not on it, I'm like, the last thing I want to be doing is like using another app. I'm trying to watch like a show about Alaska on National Geographic.
Yeah, they're polar bears to watch instead of this.
I mean, and there won't be for much longer. Okay.
Now is the time. There will always be single people in the world, but polar bears?
I mean, truly.
True. Okay, so that's got to be that's tough then, to be like, not like, how are you feeling about dating stuff? Are you?
I would like to, but I also need to like, it takes me a very long time to warm up to men generally, which is definitely like an issue for me. But like, if I meet a woman, I'm like, okay, like right off the bat, I'm like, we're kiki and da 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 da. But I'll meet like a man and I'm like, what? Like, I guess it's a defense mechanism from like growing up, you know, like every other homo. But so I'm working on it. That's like my New Year's resolution, is to like be more social when it's not just for work and shows.
I love that.
Well, we'll see though, because the pandemic, I'm like, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, this is kind of great for me. But now I'm like, this is like how you become a hoarder, is very much.
Right. Like, this is, you could just never leave your apartment after this.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if it goes on for too long. Yeah. I love that resolution, and I hope that everyone gets vaccinated so that you can try.
Thank you. That's what we're trying to get the vaccine for, people.
Yeah, ultimately, that's what it's for.
My dating life.
Yeah. So Chris can get out there and date again for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it. But that just brought me to, I don't really warm up to men right away either. That's definitely something about me too. And that's probably about like growing up shit, huh?
Which is probably also why we both are in like the comedy world, and it's like a natural thing to like, it's a defense mechanism. I'm like, I would rather stand on stage and talk to myself for 10 minutes than sit on a date for 10 minutes and be like so nervous and awkward.
Yeah. It's so weird, because most people are terrified of having a microphone and being on stage. So it's like,
I know. And people that go on dates, I'm like, good. Like, I have friends that are like, oh, I go on 2 dates a week or something. And I'm like, what? That is like, when are you sleeping? 2 dates a week? I couldn't possibly.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, like, especially now, I don't like the people who are doing 2 dates in person a week right now are the problem.
Oh, insane.
Yeah.
Even the people.
Are you guys doing any like virtual dates? Because that too, I'm like, that's a lot.
I've been doing it, and I actually did it on the podcast too. We did. So Andrew's been there with me.
Yeah. A little chaperone.
Dates. Yeah, my chaperone.
Just turn off your cam if things get heavy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it hasn't been so bad. What I like about it is that you haven't left your apartment, so you're done. There's no stress of like being in a new place and being like close to a person, and then having like are we eating? Like, what drink should I get? Like all this stuff. You're already comfortable because you're at home.
Yeah.
Who's paying?
Who's paying?
All that is out the window.
Me, I'm paying because I bought this bottle of wine for me.
Yes.
So all of that is fine. But it's really hard to know if you're attracted to someone or not over Zoom because actually probably no one looks their best self on Zoom.
Yeah, and that's how I'm like, if the chemistry's like you can't really tell through.
No, it's hard to know.
It's like a 90 Day Fiancé kind of thing, which I'm like, it's, don't get me wrong, my best friend in the world lives in Scotland and met her husband on Tinder when he was in the city for like a week, when like visiting the city, and then they did it like long distance from Scotland to New York for like 5 years. And now they're married. But
that's
like
wild.
So I'm like, it can be done. And like they you know, obviously met after like a year and then went back and forth, and they're both very normal. It's like, I'm like, it takes, but I lived with her for years, and it's also like she would FaceTime like at all hours of the day and night because of the time zones. So it's just a lot of work, I think, to make a virtual relationship work.
Absolute. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And
like,
we already have those.
Exactly. I'm like, if I'm not getting paid for it, I can't do it.
I know. Where are my benefits for this? Okay. I should be getting health insurance for the amount of flirting I'm doing on Hinge right now.
Right? Daddy needs a teeth cleaning. Come on, I need dental.
Yeah, absolute. Chris, I forgot to warn you about this, but I play a little mini game every episode called Quick and Dirty, where I ask 4 questions very quickly, and they're not dirty questions. They're just quick.
Okay.
Are you ready? And do you want to play?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, amazing. So the first quick question, and fully lost it because I forgot that I do this too. Okay, quick and dirty. The first question is, what is your favorite flirty emoji?
Oh, to get or to give?
I want to know both.
I guess. Oh, that's so hard. I guess, you know, like the like embarrassed one?
Yes.
I like getting and giving that one, I guess, is like the flirtiest one for me. Because I'm comfortable enough to send like a fucking bear covering its eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like flirty, but it's not like an eggplant. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
So it's like, I wanna like read the New York Times in bed with you, as opposed to like, you know.
Like gross.
Like I wanna like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Love that. Also love that it's fully love language style. You're like, what's your favorite to give and what's your favorite? Your emoji love language. I love. Okay. Your favorite opening line on the apps.
Oh my God, are you Fat Carrie Bradshaw? No, I'm just but I do like getting that because I'm like, oh my God, that's so nice. But then it's usually like followed by like something not romantic whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why I like getting that, because I'm like, oh good, this is just like a fun thing. They don't actually care. But like the actual one is probably like what, like something that needs an answer. I hate getting hey, which is very common.
Yeah, hey's the worst.
I like what do you do? I like you know, what's your favorite movie? Some bullshit like that, I guess.
Yeah, start the
or like a compliment. Who doesn't like a compliment? You have nice eyes. That's a very good compliment.
Oh, that's classic. Love that. I know. Right? No hays. Everyone abolish hey as a opening on an app.
I'm like, what? I can't do that.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say back. We have nowhere to go.
We're stopped. Hey.
We've stopped before we started.
Hay is for horses. Okay.
Hay is for
Someone
horses.
once said that, and I'll say it again.
For horses. Read receipts, yes or no?
No. Yeah. Like, do I want them or do I like them?
Like, yeah, I got the sense that you hate them. That was a no.
For both.
Do you know that I'll warn my friends when they have them on? I'm like, just so you know you have read receipts on, and they'll be like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I thought it was a glitch that you left that on. Who does that?
Yeah, like what psychopath has these?
Right.
I can't imagine. I mean, my mom does, but like that's a different story. No, definitely not. I don't even like it on Insta. If I'm like DMing with someone on Insta back and forth, I put them in the general folder because I can't, because then I can look at it when I'm ready and not like get worked up every time they respond.
Smart.
It's like insane, but I do
No,
that.
that's smart. I love that. I've never thought about using the general folder for that purpose.
That's my like, yeah, it's my when I want to be like talking to people.
I love. I love that. Okay, and last quick and dirty question. Double texting, yes or no?
Oh, that's in an ideal world, I would like to say no, but this is not an ideal world.
Right.
So I've done it and I've had it done to me. And when it is done to me, I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm sure that's what happens when I do it to people. So I guess I'll say I don't like it, but I have to live with it. Yeah. Because that's the case.
That's the world we live in, and it's just not a perfect world.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case.
That is the case. Okay, wow, and that was quick and dirty.
Thank you, wow.
Wow, thank you. So I think we should get into your receipts that you brought.
Okay, so I did pull some receipts. So as I mentioned before we started recording, I live by like embarrassing moments, just are my basic only memories of like being a teenager. Anything that embarrassing happened is like all I remember. So if I drunk text, which I used to do so much and terribly until like 5 years ago, I would do it and then I would delete it. So then the next day I wouldn't see it. Because I'm like, if I don't see it, it didn't happen.
Oh, that's my worst nightmare, Chris.
And I would do it a lot. And then I would be like telling someone, I'm like, oh my God, I drunk text it. And they're like, what did you say? I'm like, I have no idea because I deleted it, but I know I sent it.
They can know. I freak out like when I do that, when I get drunk and then I text people, which is a thing that we've all done, right? Like my first thought in the morning is like, oh my God, what did I say? So I think I would have a mental breakdown if I deleted it from myself.
I feel like it's my way of like pretending it didn't happen. And then sometimes I'll see the person in real life. I mean, obviously this hasn't happened in a year, but I would like see the person and then I'd be like, oh my God, I just remembered that I like did this. But I have gotten a few like funny messages. Okay, so this girl messaged me, this random girl.
Okay.
And she said, you'll probably never see this, but I'm drunk and I love your Instagram. Thank you for making me laugh and smile. Okay, she sent that.
Beautiful.
The next day at 10:50 p.m., she says, because I hadn't seen it, the next day she says, you know what, I take it back.
Oh my God.
Because I didn't respond.
What? And now she doesn't like your Instagram?
Wait, but didn't she say in the first message, you'll probably never see this? Did she say that?
Yeah, I'm sure she thought I wouldn't see the second one either. I guess, I don't know. And then I responded and I was like, I'm so sorry I didn't see it until now. And then she was like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you've been thinking about this, huh?
Yeah.
So I felt kind of rude about that. Oh, this was a comment on a YouTube video.
Oh my God.
That I'm obsessed with.
You shouldn't feel rude about that though, Chris, because I think that says a lot about her mental state.
It sounds like she just like moved right next to me. That's the same girl.
Yeah.
Imagine it's her.
It's her.
Okay, this message was on a long time ago. I did a like web series with Kelly Quinn called Straight Marriage, where we're gay people pretending to be in a straight marriage, long story short. But someone commented a year ago and I screenshotted it because it's so funny, and it just says, there's no way Chris is straight. And I'm like, that is my favorite message to get. I got a message that said, did you copy your name from Fat Kylie Jenner?
Who?
And I was like, who the fuck is Fat Kylie Jenner? And I looked her up and it's like it's some girl whose Instagram handle is Fat Kylie Jenner. But I'm like, No.
No.
Also, like, why are you messaging me that? Isn't that weird?
That is weird. I mean, I feel like you're the original.
Right? Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're the original.
I like to think I am too. You know, I actually looked and saw when her profile, because I was like, oh, what if people think I'm copying her? And I have, she's only been around for like a year.
Yeah, so he should be messaging her and say, did you copy at Fat Carrie Bradshaw?
Yeah, right? I didn't respond to her.
Okay, don't.
This message was from a guy, and it said, hey, I'm a gay 25-year-old serial entrepreneur with a body count close to 450.
No.
And then like this emoji. If you're looking,
keep going.
If you're looking for a quality guest with a unique commentary, I'd be super interested to drop by and kiki with some rosé. I'm in the area, so please feel free to reach out. And then I didn't respond, and the next day he messages, hell yeah, I'd love to. Like he like answered his own message.
That's beautiful.
So that one is also one of my faves.
An all-time favorite for me too. But before we move on, body count like he murdered people?
No, like that he slept with.
Oh,
like he slept with.
I think that's like the gay straight difference. I've heard that before, that for gays, body count obviously means hooking up, but for straight people, it's a much grimmer
murder.
Yeah.
I love it.
If a man told me his body count was 400, I would be like, I have to call the police.
Okay. Yeah, like literally like a domestic terrorist. Absolutely.
Yeah, I should have clarified, because I've read this to straight people before and they're like, oh my God, why you didn't call the police?
Yeah.
And then this one I actually got yesterday. And it's perfect timing. And it says, hello, I know the chances of you reading this are slim and you probably don't even know what incident I'm talking about. But I have said some unnecessary things to you in a post once. It was overly critical and just rude, and I wanted to apologize. It was a comment on your posting methods and had no reason to be critical of you, and I'm sorry. And I was like, what was the post, girl?
Yeah.
Is what I wanted to say.
Wait, what was the first sentence? The incident? What was the first sentence again?
It was...
because I loved that.
Oh shoot, I lost my thing. Hold on, let me
pull
it
okay.
back up. Because I like have screenshots of all of them, and you probably don't even know what incident I'm talking about, which I don't.
I love starting off with that. You probably don't even know what incident I'm talking about.
I'm like, this seems like a girl who's maybe trying to like enhance her life or something, and is like going down a rabbit hole, but I don't.
Yeah, she's
this seems like a My Name is Earl situation, righting their wrongs.
Yeah. Past mistakes, a Yom Kippur kind of moment.
Yeah, but there's no, I mean, that's the first like message she's ever sent, so I don't know what it was.
I want to know what it was. How bad do you think it was?
Bad enough that she needed to send me a message to apologize. I don't know. The thing is, I've gotten like random mean messages, obviously. So maybe what one was from her. But when she says post, I'm like, wait, did you do like a full Instagram post about me?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I guess she apologized.
Yeah, I guess thank you for the apology.
So I don't know. I left her on red though too, because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know how to react to that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you need that kind of stress in your life, honestly.
Yeah. I don't have the actual screenshot of this one, but I do think about it all the time, because once a guy on a dating app messaged me and asked if he could fuck me from behind while feeding me donuts. And so that one I also think about quite often. I didn't respond. What I should have said is like, what kind of donuts? But
yeah.
I think because it's like definitely like a fetish kind of thing, but I'm like, Can we start with a hello, please?
Yeah. I mean, in this case, maybe hey would be better, even though I want to abolish.
Yeah,
hey. In this
I
case,
know.
we'll go
You
with
you
hey.
did ask for questions. You explicitly
He
said
did.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did give you a question that
Fair.
implies an easy response. It's a yes or it's a no. So
Fair. I guess I have to be careful of what I'm wishing for.
Yeah.
oh my god, I
There
hate
was
that.
another one,
Um,
but I'm trying to remember what it was.
I think that's hilarious, but also I hate that. I hate when people come out of the gate being overly sexual on a dating app. Hello.
Hello. I'm like, and I get it. I guess that's gay dating apps is like a different world. It's like the fucking wild, wild west. Oh, this is what I'm gonna say. Once someone was like, "Are you allergic to dairy?" And I'm already now I know what is coming, but then I was naive, and I was like, "Yeah, actually, I am." And he was like, "Perfect. Do you want to drink a gallon of milk and then come over and I'll fuck you?" And I was like,
No.
I was like, "I'm
Oh
calling the
my
police."
God.
Okay.
Yeah, jail. I mean, it's a fetish, I guess, but jail.
I guess, but also in the gay dating apps, I'm like, these people are in our neighborhood. Like,
Someone to tell the authorities. Yeah.
Sure.
yeah, it's
Oh my
something
God.
else.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Just yesterday, a guy on fucking Tinder was like messaging me, and then said like, just so you know, I'm incontinent and I wear diapers, and then sent like a bunch of pictures of him in a diaper.
Oh, I hate that. I've seen that before too. It's
Is
the
that
worst.
a thing? I don't know. Tell me what this means. Is this a thing?
Yes, they like to be babied, or right?
Yeah, but he says he's incontinent, which means he can't control his like his bowel movements.
Okay, so he
Oh,
has
okay,
a
okay, different thing then.
But
he has a legitimate issue. Like there's some like
but here's the thing about a legitimate issue. Number one, like leading off with that, I get maybe you want to like get it out of the way, but also like I wouldn't know that for a long time.
Mm,
And number two, don't send me a bunch of pictures of you in a fucking diaper. What the fuck are you talking about? I
yeah,
think that's insane. Obviously, it's also some kind of a fetish thing for him.
it
right.
must be.
So
And which apps, if I can ask, which apps are you doing this communication on?
this was Tinder, believe it or not.
Wow.
Okay.
Which is like this I've learned is like the straight people's grinder is Tinder.
It is, yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought I'm like Tinder for I think is like when you're looking for someone wholesome.
Yeah.
That's just not where I would go. If I'm looking for wholesome, I'm gonna stay away from Tinder. All I get there is misery. So
Yeah, but the donut stuff was grinder.
okay.
Of course.
Okay.
And the drink milk one was grinder also, obviously.
Right. That checks out for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you're allergic to dairy. It's very unfortunate.
It really is actually, but I still like I eat dairy probably like twice a week, and then I'm just like in constant pain.
Is there a difference between being allergic to dairy and lactose intolerant?
I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't know
It's same.
if there's
It's the
really
same thing?
It's the same.
Okay.
I think it's the same.
It's the same. But I
just
think
wanna
everyone is
clarify.
kind of lactose intolerant a little bit, but some people are like,
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
think
it's
that
sad.
too.
It's sad
No.
though, because cheese is one of the best things. Those ice
I
cream.
know. It's an ice cream, yeah. And like frozen yogurt even.
Mm.
Yes.
None of it. That's my worst. When people go on like frozen yogurt or ice cream dates, I'm always, and now that I'm older and realize that it's because I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm like, every time I eat ice cream or dairy or like frozen yogurt, I feel like I'm gonna die for like 24 hours. I can never go on a date for that.
Well, do you remember like when like frozen yogurt had like a moment? And like
Yes.
it was like 2011 to 2013, I feel. Like that window frame of like frozen yogurt was everywhere.
Yes, I do remember that.
That was
And it like
wild.
16 handles was like on every corner.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like really just changing the game. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
We're
But
so
people, because
naive then.
people really were, because they're like, I'll get frozen yogurt. You can get like 100 toppings. And I'm like, what's the point of getting the frozen yogurt,
Right.
girl?
Yeah, just it's really not yogurt anymore once it's chocolate and
Yeah, like you're eating ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember those days. We were so young then.
I know, right? I'm like, I think I was in high school. No, I graduated high school in 2008, but
We had no idea what was coming for us.
No
Everything's so
idea.
simple.
No idea.
It was a better world.
When was the last time that you were in a relationship with someone, if I may ask?
Like really, I've never really been in like a real relationship. Which, you know, isn't that surprise. I guess I don't know. I'm like, I guess it's not that surprising, but I guess it is. It depends on who you are. But yeah, I never really when I was young, I didn't come out of the closet till I was like 22. Which obviously is like I feel like a lot of gay people are fucked up in that way. But I would just drill in my head like through high school. I'm like, I'm just never gonna date anyone. I don't have to tell anyone I'm gay because then I'll just like I'm just gonna like build a career and not date. And then when I came out was when I was like, this is gonna be a horrible life. But I still think a lot of that mindset has like stuck with me. So we're working through it.
Yeah.
But it's I wish that I could just be like 5 years into a relationship from the get-go, if that makes sense.
It does though.
I hate the beginning parts. I'm like, I just want to like stay in and watch Sister Act 2. I don't want to like
right, and just be comfortable and not be doing like any of the does this person like me? Do I like them stuff? Just like no and be comfortable in it. I get that.
Yes.
There is something about pandemic dating that does lead to that though, to be honest, because like you can't really go out on the town or go on dates. So you are kind of watching Sister Act 2 like from the jump.
That's true.
So
that is true, but it's because I'm at my parents too. I'm like, I don't even know how I would like no one the fuck come in here.
No, yeah.
So,
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you're back in the city or in LA or like, I don't know. My first real relationship was recently, was like at 28, I would say is my first like legitimate, this is my boyfriend. So
that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 30, but still, I'm like 28. That's
Same thing.
A lot of people will be like, I was actually like the exact same way. Like, I didn't date anyone until I was 17, so I totally get it.
Like, hey, fuck you. You had a boyfriend for prom, bitch. Get out. Yeah. So I'm also kind of a late bloomer in that way. But I think there's something about being very career oriented and ambitious that also maybe leads to that too. Aside from all of the other, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I remember like when Lady Gaga first became really popular, she like did this interview where she was like, if you ever have to choose between a man and a career, just remember a career will never wake up and decide it doesn't love you anymore. And I was like, yes, fierce, yes. And now like years later, I'm like watching the 5'2" documentary. I'm like, this bitch is fucking miserable. And I've been like taking her dating advice since I was 16. So yeah, I really do think a lot of things that are issues for me now are like because of media when I was in the closet and like drawn to Karen Walker. I'm like, you know, I'm like, I love martinis and pills because I would watch Karen Walker and be like, I want to be just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love martinis and pills though? You never have to lose that. Even with a significant other, you never need to lose that.
Let's hope not.
Never. Chris, this has been such a delight. It's been so much fun.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Everyone absolutely needs to follow you. So it's at Fat Carrie Bradshaw. Everywhere.
Yes, on Insta. On Twitter, it's Fat Carrie Bishaw because it doesn't have enough characters.
Okay. Good to know.
So,
well, and this was a delight. So thank you everyone who is listening. Again, it's receipts, baby.